Imagine for a second that you are on a camping trip, right? And you're there with your spouse's students.
Oh, that is already a high-pressure situation.
Right. So you volunteer to pick dinner. It's one of those freeze-dried meals. You rip open the package, find the little packet inside, tear it open, and just stir it right in.
Let me guess, assuming it's the spice mix?
Exactly, except it is actually the desiccant.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the silica gel packet literally labeled "Do Not Eat" in 12 different languages.
Wow, that's bad.
So instead of throwing the entire meal away, and admitting defeat to a bunch of teenagers, you decide to just eat it anyway.
That is quite the choice.
I know, but miraculously, you survive. And the students, they instantly dub you Iron Stomach, which then evolves into Iron Guts, and finally they just start calling you Gutsy.
I love that. I mean, it establishes this immediate willingness to just endure profound discomfort rather than give up, which honestly is a completely required character trait for the journey we're diving into today.
Totally. So, welcome to your personalized deep dive. Our mission today is to really unpack the gritty reality of hiking the 2,200-mile Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, but we're not using some sanitized, generic guidebook for
Yeah, we have something way more personal. We are looking at the 2025 trail journal of a 63-year-old bridge engineer named Gregor Woolman. But out in the woods, like we said, he goes by Gutsy.
And what makes this specific journal so incredibly valuable to look at is the contrast. You've got a man who brings an engineer's highly analytical, meticulously organized brain into, well, a completely wild and unpredictable environment.
Right.
He's taken a 6-month leave of absence from a very structured career to tackle this absolute beast of a trail.
And his approach is it's pretty unconventional right from the start, because most thru hikers, they start at one of the traditional endpoints, right? Either Springer Mountain down in Georgia or Mount Katahdin way up in Maine.
Right, the traditional northbound or southbound routes.
Exactly. But Gutsy lives in Blacksburg, Virginia, so he designs this wraparound hike. He starts right near his own home at the McAfee Knob Trailhead, which is precisely at mile marker 710.8.
Very precise. Very engineered.
Very. And his plan is to hike the entire loop and end right back at his own doorstep.
Which, on paper, is this elegant, highly efficient plan. But the moment you step onto the dirt, the Appalachian Trail has a way of violently dismantling your plans.
Oh, for sure. So we are going to focus our analysis on the first 17 days of his journey. That covers nearly 200 miles.
Those first couple of weeks are really the ultimate crucible for any hiker.
Yeah, we're going to explore that crazy intersection of extreme physical endurance, the deeply strange logistics of just living in the dirt, and the intense micro-society that forms out there. But I think before we get to the mechanics of the trail, we need to understand the why.
The underlying motivation.
Right. Why does a successful engineer in his 60s voluntarily choose to subject himself to a 2,200-mile walk?
Well, he actually addresses this with remarkable self-awareness right in his prologue. He talks about how his biological clock is ticking, he's approaching retirement age, but he explicitly writes that he just refuses to sit at home and mope about the brevity of life.
I love that phrasing.
It's great, right? He is looking for a massive, all-consuming adventure. He actually draws a direct parallel between the audacity of this hike and the massive leap of faith he took when he immigrated to the U.S. 39 years ago.
So he really wants a complete reset. But the physical reality of that reset is, well, it's terrifying. The trail isn't just a long, flat walk in the woods.
Not at all.
Over its entire length, it involves roughly 460,000 feet of elevation gain and drop.
Which is just a staggering number to comprehend.
Right. You are essentially climbing from sea level to the summit of Mount Everest 16 times, day after day, with your entire life strapped to your back.
And he begins this whole endeavor with a severe physiological disadvantage.
Yeah, the injury.
Exactly. During his training, he developed a really nasty case of foot tendonitis, specifically interflexor hallucis longus.
Okay, let's break down why that specific injury is so devastating for a hiker. The hallux longus is the tendon that runs down the back of your calf, under your foot, and connects right to your big toe.
Right.
So every single time you take a step, especially when you're climbing up a steep incline, that tendon is responsible for the final forceful push-off.
And when you are hiking 15 miles a day over mountains, you're demanding tens of thousands of those explosive push-offs from an inflamed, already damaged tendon.
It sounds like literal torture.
It is an injury that typically requires like 4 months of total rest to heal properly.
Yeah.
But Gutsy is only 2.5 months into his recovery when he takes his first step at McAfee Knob.
So he's in pain from minute one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And because of this, he actually calculates his odds. He explicitly writes down that he has only a 25% chance of making it past his first major milestone, which is a town called Daleville, just a few days away.
You know, that immediately makes me think of how a bridge engineer approaches a compromised structure.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah, like if a bridge is showing stress fractures, you don't just, hope it stays standing. You calculate the load limit and you apply external reinforcements. And Gutsy approaches his own body the exact same way.
He really does.
He uses these rigid superfeet inserts and performs rigorous stretching routines on the trail, almost like he's applying tension cables to a swaying bridge. But this raises a serious physiological question.
Which is?
Is it actually possible that the grueling stress of a daily mountain hike could heal a tendon injury? Or is he just running on adrenaline and denial?
Well, from a purely medical standpoint, hauling 30 pounds up a mountain is absolutely not a recognized treatment for tendinitis.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, the inflammation will likely just persist.
Right.
But we have to look at what that 25% metric is doing for him psychologically. By setting such a low expectation for success, he is deliberately shifting his cognitive load.
Meaning he's giving himself permission to fail.
Actually, more accurately, he's giving his brain permission to stop processing the macro goal.
Ah, I see.
When you are in physical agony on day 2, the concept of hiking another 2,180 miles is mentally crushing. It will break your spirit way before your body actually fails.
So by focusing on the tendinitis and the low probability of success,
He narrows his entire world down to micro goals. He's only focusing on reaching the very next bailout point. It just removes the paralyzing pressure of the big picture.
that makes a lot of sense. Managing the psychological weight of the journey allows him to keep moving forward. But, all of that mental framing is really put to the test the second the sun goes down.
Oh yeah, the night changes everything.
Surviving the day-to-day logistics of wilderness living strips away the romanticism of the trail almost instantly.
It's the harsh transition from the theory of backpacking to the really gritty execution.
Let's look at his very first experience digging a cat hole. Because this is so relatable, but also so terrible.
The rice and beans incident.
Yes, Gutsy cooks this spicy backpacker kitchen rice and beans mix for dinner. And in the middle of the freezing night, his digestive system just violently rebels.
A nightmare scenario.
A massive, undeferrable emergency. He scrambles out of his tent into the pitch black, frantically trying to dig a hole in this notoriously rocky Virginia soil while actively trying not to soil himself.
And he notes in the journal that the hole ended up being little more than a shallow depression.
Right, and to make matters worse, he was completely out of water, so he couldn't even use his makeshift water bottle bidet.
It is a profoundly humbling moment. You quickly realize out there that nature simply does not care about your dignity.
Not one bit. And the logistical nightmares don't stop at bathroom emergencies. Protecting your food from bears is this exhausting nightly chore.
Yeah, and Gutsy attempts a highly specific method called the PCT bear hang, named after the Pacific Crest Trail.
Can you explain how that works?
Yeah, so the PCT hang is mechanically brilliant. You throw your rope over a high, sturdy branch, you clip a carabiner to the rope, run the tail end of the rope through the carabiner, and pull your heavy food bag up as high as you can.
Okay, so far so good.
Then you reach up and tie a small stick onto the rope using a clove hitch. When you let go, the bag pulls the rope back up, but that stick jams directly to the carabiner.
Like a stopper.
Exactly. It acts as a toggle block. The bag is left suspended halfway between the branch and the ground. A bear can swat at the trunk or pull the rope all they want, but they cannot bypass that mechanical lock.
The operative word there being mechanically, like the physics are completely sound, but the physical reality of actually executing it is brutal.
Oh, it's exhausting.
Pulling a heavy food bag up through a carabiner creates a 180-degree friction loop. You are fighting the dead weight of the food and the intense friction of the rope against the metal.
And doing that in the dark, when your arms are already shot from a 15-mile hike, it's deeply frustrating.
Yeah, and then you have the social logistics. I mean, Gutsy eventually needs to hitchhike to Middle Creek Campground for a resupply. A local guy in a pickup truck pulls over for him.
A classic trail experience.
Right. Gutsy hops in the back, but when they try to communicate, it is just a disaster. Gutsy has lived in the U.S. for 39 years, but his German accent, colliding with the incredibly thick local Southwest Virginian dialect of the driver, it results in total incomprehension.
He actually notes it felt exactly like his early struggles trying to decode Swiss German.
Which is wild. He's surrounded by locals with fishing gear, feeling like a complete alien.
The frantic digging in the rocky soil, the exhaustion of the friction loop on the bear hang, the inability to communicate with the local driver. These are all classic symptoms of what psychologists call competence shock.
Oh, competence shock. Let's explore that term.
Sure.
Because think about your own job right now. You know exactly how to navigate your software systems. You understand the unspoken office politics. You know the fastest route on your commute. You are a highly competent adult.
Right. You know how to operate in your world.
Now imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing your advanced degree or your management title cannot help you figure out how to keep a bear from eating your oatmeal. Or literally how to go to the bathroom.
Precisely. In his normal life, Gutsy is a bridge engineer collaborating with highly educated peers. He operates with immense competence and authority. Suddenly, he steps into the woods and is reduced to a beginner struggling with fundamental human needs.
It's a total reset of status.
Yes, his previous status offers zero leverage out there. And many people abandon through hikes, not because their knees give out, but because the daily grinding friction of feeling incompetent is just psychologically exhausting.
But he stays.
He does, because however hard it is for a certain type of professional, this shock is actually the appeal.
Wait, the appeal, how is feeling helpless appealing?
Because it simplifies the stakes. In the corporate world, problems are abstract, they're bureaucratic, and they're often endless. On the trail, your problems are immediate, tangible, and solvable.
You're hungry, so you eat.
Right. You are cold, so you walk faster.
Yeah.
There is this profound psychological relief in shedding complex societal responsibilities for pure basic survival tasks, even if you were really bad at them at first.
That makes a lot of sense. But all of that struggling, the frantic digging, wrestling with the bear hang, shivering in the dark, it burns an unbelievable amount of energy. Which brings us to the next wall Gutsy hits. He is running a massive caloric deficit.
The relentless economics of fueling a human engine.
Yeah, and early in the hike, Gutsy encounters this Bavarian hiker whose trail name is Ghost.
Right, Ghost.
And Ghost is on his second attempt at through hiking the AT. He reveals that he had to abandon his 2018 hike entirely because of catastrophic weight loss. His body was literally consuming itself faster than he could eat.
Which is a very real danger out there.
And this story deeply spooks Gutsy. When he reaches the town of Waynesboro for a resupply, his anxiety just takes the wheel. He buys an excessive amount of food, stuffs it all into his pack, and hits the trail.
And almost immediately, that massive additional weight begins aggravating his recovering foot tendon.
Exactly.
He is experiencing the physical manifestation of anxiety. We see this constantly on the trail. It is known as fear packing.
Fear packing.
Yeah, when you inspect a novice hiker's bag, they're rarely packing for the actual conditions. They're packing their specific fears. Gutsy wasn't just carrying extra granola bars. He was physically carrying his terror of starving and failing like Ghost did.
He loaded his fear onto his own back.
Literally.
So to solve this, he falls back on the one thing he trusts more than anything else. He engineers a mathematical solution.
Of course he does.
He sits down and decides he needs absolute precision to stop the hoarding. He creates a daily budget, 3 meals of exactly 500 calories each, plus a 250-calorie snack for every hour hiked.
Very specific.
Yeah, he writes out the equation in his journal. 1,500 plus 6 times 250 equals 3,000 calories for a 12 to 15-mile day. But wait, I have to challenge this.
Go for it.
3,000 calories a day. That is what a relatively active tall person eats in a normal office job. For a grown man hauling 35 pounds up a mountain for 6 to 8 hours a day, he is easily burning like 4,000 to 5,000 calories.
At least.
That equation sounds like a highly organized starvation plan. Is he actually solving the problem or just using math to hide the deficit?
Well, physiologically, you are absolutely correct. He is still running a caloric deficit. It is nearly impossible for through hikers to carry and consume enough calories to offset the burn rate of climbing mountains all day.
So everyone loses weight.
They almost all lose weight. But the genius of his equation isn't about nutritional perfection. It is entirely about psychological control.
Oh, so the math is just a coping mechanism.
Exactly. The wilderness is inherently chaotic. The weather is unpredictable. His tendon pain fluctuates. And his hunger is this constant nagging variable. But math is an absolute constant.
It's solid ground.
Right. By reducing his survival to a concrete equation, no matter how flawed the total caloric output might actually be, he soothes the anxiety that triggered the fear packing in the first place. He regains a sense of agency over an environment that was making him feel completely powerless.
So he basically builds a bridge of numbers to get over his panic.
That's a great way to put it.
But even with the math mapped out, the trail still breaks down your body, right? And it isolates your mind. And honestly, the isolation would be unbearable if it weren't for the deeply bizarre, intensely bonded community that forms along the way.
The micro-society of hiker trash.
Yes. The sociology of the trail is fascinating because it operates completely outside the bounds of normal societal structures.
It really starts with the shedding of your real name. You
Yeah.
adopt a trail name, which immediately severs you from your past identity.
Right. So Gutsy meets a man named Tennessee Slim who is entirely homeless, living out of his backpack with his husky, Buddy, just making it work day by day.
And then there's the Raven.
Oh man, the Raven.
This man is 74 years old. He is a throat cancer survivor, and he is out there carrying a 42-pound backpack, just grinding out 10-mile days.
Which is insane.
Witnessing someone like the Raven is a pivotal moment for a hiker like Gutsy. When you're 63, worrying about your injured foot and your age, and you watch a 74-year-old cancer survivor haul 42 pounds up a mountain, it completely reframes your internal narrative of pain.
It obliterates your excuses, really.
It forces you to reevaluate what you're actually capable of enduring.
And the extremes don't stop there. He meets a hiker named Milkbone, named for the dog treats he carries. In the real world, his name is MBL, and he drives a delivery truck for Amazon.
But on the trail,
On the trail, he is a machine attempting the Triple Crown, meaning he's hiking the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail all in a single year.
he's crushing 30-mile days.
Yeah. Amidst all these intense characters, Gutsy ends up forming his own chosen family, a group he affectionately calls the Dilly Dallies.
And the demographics of this chosen family really highlight the absolute egalitarian nature of the trail.
It's so cool. You have Gutsy, the 63-year-old engineer. He teams up with Bumblebee, whose real name is Maya. She is a Gen Z biology graduate from New Hampshire, born in 2002.
And they share the exact same birthday, May 3rd, separated by exactly 40 years.
Which is such a wild coincidence. Then there is Skittles, a health science grad from Boston named Lizzie, and another hiker named Kaleidoscope, whose real name is Chris Flo.
So you have a man nearing retirement pacing through the mountains with a pack of 20-somethings.
Yeah, and they suffer together, sleeping in the freezing dirt one night, and a few days later, they hike into Waynesboro and rent a room at the Bowman House Bed and Breakfast.
Which is a whole experience in itself.
Right. It is this stately brick mansion with massive white columns. The group gets shoved into the attic, which they dub Hiker Heaven.
Naturally.
And the architecture is so weird that the hiker bathroom is literally built into the main staircase. Like, if someone is using the toilet, the entire staircase is blocked.
That is hilarious.
And there you have the engineer, the Gen Z grads, and Ghost the Bavarian, all sitting on the floor eating a massive hiker trash pizza dinner. So I have to ask, why does the shared physical misery of the woods completely erase the boundaries of age, class, and background that so heavily define our normal lives?
Because the trail forcefully strips away all external labels of status. In the corporate world, Gutsy is defined by his title, his salary, his authority, and his age.
Right.
And Maya and Lizzie, they're defined as recent graduates entering the bottom of the hierarchy. But the trees don't care about your resume.
No, they do not.
And a rainstorm doesn't care about your tax bracket.
Right.
Out there, you are only judged by your physical endurance, your attitude in a crisis, and your willingness to share an emergency ration when someone is hitting a wall.
So your value is entirely based on your immediate utility and kindness.
Precisely. When you strip away those social markers, people connect on a purely human-to-human level. Navigating a freezing rainstorm together or, laughing about a staircase bathroom, it creates a hyper-accelerated intimacy. You rely on each other for morale and sanity in a way you rarely have to in polite, insulated society.
Wow. Which brings this deep dive into really sharp focus for all of us. Over the course of just 17 days and nearly 200 miles, we watched a profound transformation.
We really did.
Gutsy started as this anxious man with a painful foot injury, handing himself a mere 25% chance of survival. He was struggling with the friction of bear hangs and digging inadequate holes in the dark.
But by day 17...
By day 17, he is executing calculated calorie math, he has actively recognized and shed his fear packing, and he is confidently navigating the Virginia mountains alongside a chosen family of hikers 40 years his junior.
It's a masterclass in adaptation. The strategies he uses to survive the trail are directly applicable to the friction we face in our daily lives. Well, whether you are navigating a massive career shift, a sudden loss of status, or just a deeply overwhelming chapter in your life. The mechanics of survival are the same. You have to actively identify when your anxiety is causing you to fear pack, weighing you down more than the actual challenge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you have to embrace competent shock, accepting that feeling like a helpless amateur is just the mandatory first step to mastering a new environment.
And sometimes you just have to lower your expectations. Stop looking at the crushing 2,200-mile macro goal and focus entirely on making it to the very next bailout point.
Just take the next step.
Exactly. It leaves you with a serious question to ponder. The trail forces every hiker to shed their title, their daily comforts, and their given name, stripping them down until they build a new persona from scratch.
The ultimate reset.
Yeah. If you had to walk into the woods for 6 months tomorrow, what part of your current identity would be the absolute hardest to leave behind? And, more importantly, what trail name do you think the woods would give you? Take some time to think about that. Thanks for exploring the woods with us today. Until next time, keep diving deep.